So, there's been a lot of strange individuals you've met and tried on this esoteric island. The Scrap Man, the Distraught Nun, whatever the f this thing is, but nothing. Nothing really speaks to you. You're on a level far beyond mortal kin. An existence beyond these mortal beings, but a power you have to assert upon them. The earth will quake, the powerless shall kneel, and they shall offer tribute, for you have no equal. To be upon this ground is to walk your sacred land, and to breathe the air is to cultivate the blood that shall sustain your rule. To lift more than a finger against the centaurs is more than they deserve, as you put the peasants beneath your heel. All you need is one single strike. Then a juice break, because being this effortlessly amazing takes energy. Welcome! It's time again for me, the guy you don't remember inviting to the barbecue party, to talk to you about another fun character in Eternal Return. It's been a while. Oh wow, would you look at that, it's free. This time, it's our resident vampire queen. Decked out with her parasol and personality so large she's got the most little guy energy on the island. Let's do the usual disclaimers. First, I am not a kingly gamer. I play the game casually, only touch rank when enlisted by friends for that brain rot cosmetics, and don't go further than that. Case in point, I don't know every tiny detail about Bianca and how to crunch the numbers to make her the best she can be. Don't expect me to flip the whiteboard over halfway through with a Red String conspiracy presentation on vampires. I am also going to go through this assuming you know typical ERBS terms like skill amp, weapon mastery, etc. There's some videos in the info card up there if you need some catching up. Right, so now that we have all that out of the way, let's go into how to play Bianca. Starting with stats, Bianca is your usual squish when it comes to skill-based characters, with a lower HP pool and some thin defenses, probably due to her constitution held up by all the blood drinking. Even when compared to someone like Yumin, who also usually gets neck-deep in fights, her frailty seems a bit odd and unfair. She's weaker than most. This girl probably pops like a grape, right? And that's how she gets ya. And as for how, let's find out by going into her skills. Bianca's great and auspicious passive is a two-parter. The first part imbues her next basic attack every few seconds with pure tomato juice, dealing extra skill damage that also hurts beefier targets more. Also, anytime Bianca deals skill damage, she applies hemostasis, reducing their movement speed by a smidge. The second part stores some of her damage dealt and health lost into this blood bar. This also includes any health she loses when she casts her skills, which, by the way, her skills cost HP. When she's out of combat, Bianca takes a little sippy from her blood bank to heal HP based on the blood stored. Bianca's Q throws a bloody spear at a location, dealing damage along the way. Once it reaches said location, it settles into a little bloody pool. When any enemy steps on this little puddle, it pops and deals some extra damage. If any enemies hit by either part of Q are affected by her passive's hemostasis, they get rooted as well. Her W causes Bianca to piece the fuck out of the fight and hop into her coffin for a while. When she's inside the coffin, this little chuny is well protected and takes a lot less damage while also healing during the entire skill. If Bianca's stored blood reaches over 50%, this skill's cooldown is reset and it becomes enhanced. When using the enhanced version, Bianca starts getting some sip in the comfort of her coffin, consuming her stored blood, healing even more HP based on how much blood she has, and gradually reducing the cooldown of her skill as long as she stays in. This lowers the cooldown of all of her skills, excluding her W. Now, as you can imagine, this skill is pretty damn good. You just sit there, tanking everything while also healing all of your HP back. But don't worry, there's a catch. If Bianca finds herself at the mercy of any hard CC, such as airborns, knockback, or just stuns in general, your little me time will get rudely interrupted, meaning all that healing goodness you could have had goes away in a flash. Be mindful of that. One last note to bring up is that while she's in her 6-foot bungalow, Bianca can still use her E in ultimate, completely hiding the skills from anyone on the outside to allow for a quick jump scare. Speaking of, E is a channeling skill that starts circulating blood around Bianca in a big whirlpool. When you release the skill, Bianca dashes forward and deals damage in an area around her. Charging the skill for longer eats up HP like you wouldn't believe, but also makes the area larger and hurt more, while also making the dash go further. If you hit anyone with the blood spiral after charging for at least a second, Bianca heals a bit. Hitting additional enemies increases the healing for every target, so try to land this on as many willing donors as you can. Her weapon skill surrounds her with these little orbs of blood. Anytime anything gets in range, the orbs seek out the closest thing and each deal damage in a small AoE. If they lock onto animals or bosses, they do more damage. Chickens be gone. And finally, her ultimate. Bianca's R is her, let's be honest, is half her character, and strongest move. Bianca holds a hand up, channeling blood around her into a vampiric incantation that forms a huge circle around her. After she completes the incantation, the circle drops and sticks to the ground, dealing a decent chunk of damage to anyone in range. When she's on this circle, Bianca gains Omnicypher. Moreover, any enemies standing on the circle are significantly slow. After a moment, the spell Bianca placed erupts. Once it does, it deals damage to all enemies in range, dealing more damage the lower their HP is, and heals Bianca up for every enemy hit. If she's lower on health, it heals even more. Oh, and you also have complete freedom of movement while the incantation channels. This means you can hover around, blink, and even charge E while conjuring your enemy's demise. And with that, that's all of her skills, roughly explained.
Fucking invincible! Engaging. Stop right there! Then pay with your blood!
Now that you're sufficiently educated on what you can do, let's talk about how to put all the pieces together in a real game. Alright, first things first, I know what you all came here for. The skinny, the lowdown, the forbidden cheat sheet for that quick and tasty RP. So here's what you do. Rip out every single key from your keyboard except these two, and congratulations. You've basically mastered Bianca. Okay, I'm only slightly exaggerating. Probably. Bianca's like a landmine. You set her down somewhere, wait for the right moment, and then boom! There goes half the enemy team's collective HP while they're stuck in a giant blood circle the size of a small town. But just like a landmine, it's utterly useless if no one ever steps on it. That said, you're going to be doing this a lot. Yeah, Bianca's what some people would term opportunistic. Relying on a small slip-up on the enemy's part, getting snared or clutched up to let you fly in and drop a bomb on them. If they see you coming, your whole charaded monologue you rehearsed all night will be cut short. But that doesn't mean you have to wait until all the stars align for the perfect hop, skip, and the fast track first. Instead, we can do a little fishing. Since Q is your neutral tool you're going to be tossing out whenever you're out there pretending to be an explosive device, think about this like casting your line. Throw it out, see if it catches something. If some poor creature does bite it, you gotta plant those feet and start reeling. Because without exaggeration, the second you've gone in with that ult, anyone inside is pretty much dead to rights then and there. Pack it up, ship it out, deed's been done. Even when you're right in the middle of it all, you can just shoot out the rest of your remaining skills, huddle up in your personal space, and any damage they desperately hit you with will simply get undone once the ult finally disperses. Or at least, that's how you'd want it to go. When you planned that landmine right where the enemy were about to go, when you planned it all out with your teammates and got everyone in the right positions to absolutely rain hellfire upon the peasants. But what about the times when that landmine never lights up and the enemy simply walks around it? What about the times when you miss? Fortunately, while it is true that Bianca is pretty much nothing without her ultimate, she's not completely hopeless. Like I've brought up before, her Q already makes for a pretty good HP tickler whenever you lose the chance to get the drop on somebody. Combine it with her passive's hemostasis, and that Q will do more than just tickle. With a route that lasts as long as that, you can lay in some serious damage. Especially if you get the homies backing you up. If not, you've got your own little engage tool that lets you double down on the opportunity. You're probably starting to see a trend here. When I said that Bianca is opportunistic, I mean it. Anytime you spot a moment of weakness amidst the enemy forces, you either never jump on the chance at all, or you have to quadruple down on it and unload everything into it. Bianca is a burst mage to her core. All of her skills don't do all that much on their own, so you always have to use several at once if you want to leave some real damage in. Thankfully, that's where her enhanced W comes in. Because Minky needs to cash out every time she wants to do anything, she can just stack up on blood in her passive, pop her W, get her skills back, and do everything again in case anyone survives the first rotation. During which, she's also healing an absurd amount of her health back. Hell, her W is so good at keeping her alive that some gamers have opted to build her as a tank, to some success. Speaking of which, she only gets that enhanced W if she has enough blood in her passive. So how do we make it go up? If you want a relatively quick way to build some blood, charging up E eats up a good chunk of her health, which also gets refunded back if she hits anything with it. It's a ton of damage both taken and received, so it should score you a fine amount of blood to sip on once you take a breather. If you want to get some blood fast, however, if there's any tip I could give in regards to getting results with our favorite anemic, is that you should pretty much use your ultimate all the time whenever it's off cooldown. Every single time you get into any fight, regardless of how big it is, you rip that fucker out and make them wish they never ran into you. You can usually be fearless whenever your ult is out in the world. Because of the added Omni Siphon and the impending heal you're gonna get once the ult explodes, chances are you can just sit in your little coffin and just enjoy the view while anyone daring to stay in your ult in hopes of killing you just gets evenly split in half, undoing any work they did while also putting them on death's door, in the case they didn't already die yet. Just, be mindful that more often than not, the enemy gamers will see it coming. If you can help it, make sure to ult whenever they can't see it by way of hiding it in your W, getting a root with your Q, or just by not being in their line of sight in general. Another bump that you have to keep in mind is that your coffin still has one itty bitty tiny weakness. So as easy as I'm making it sound, you can't just enter your coffin at the slightest inconvenience and close your eyes from the world around you and call it a day. Most of the time, you'll run into someone who probably has some way to force that coffin open using hard CC and wake you up to the horrors in front of you. So here's my second tip to you. See the guy in front of you and you recognize that he has something that mildly inconveniences you? Maybe think twice before shortening the time they have to spend on your grave. Wait for them to burn their CC on something else, and then it's sipping time. Alternatively, if the times are truly dire, you still get the damage resistance and a little bit of healing, even without your W being enhanced, so you can use it as a knee-jerk reaction to any telegraphed big hurty damage moments, and then sneakily cast one of your other skills while inside your coffin, to either commit or get the hell out of dodge. Or, if the damage you're taking stacked your passive enough, you can just exit the coffin only to just go back in. Hey, as long as it works. And speaking of being on the back foot, I know it's hard to believe, but at the end of the day, the Vampire Queen is not invincible. In the chance that a fight seems doomed and the better choice will either run for the hills, once again, her E, and sometimes her Q, make for excellent getaway devices. E is a dash, it's pretty self-explanatory how it can help you get away. But if you can find the time to hit someone with a skill while you're running, this also includes your enhanced auto by the way, you can follow it up with a Q to root them eternally while you're laughing your way to the bank. And I think that's about it. Hopefully this now gives you an idea that while Bianca is pretty fragile, she heals a lot and hurts just as much. Every little bit of everyone's favorite vampire is built to be this big red button you push when you need damage and fast. Fortunately for you, Bianca is very good at needing very big and very fast damage. So remember, anytime you run into the peasants of Lumia Island and see them running around thinking they own the place, be sure to appear out of nowhere and remind them that you are the true Vampire Queen!